Most weeks I have 5 appointments. It's like actually something I can do. Like I can't go work at Starbucks. I've always been like really artistic, I guess. Like I've always been like making something. Had an outpatient surgery last summer, and my pre-op nurse, I was working on chickens, and she has chickens, and the chicken I was making happened to look exactly like her chicken. So she followed me on Instagram and ended up buying a bunch of chickens and plushies and everything from me, and she still follows me and like follows along on my journey, and it's really cool like to have like my nurses and like people who have taken care of me over the years like and comment on my posts and like check in on me.
For me, if I go out in the middle of nowhere and I sit out there, I'm so much calmer than when I'm in the busyness of town and the world. You kind of lose sight of like those little like small things. You know, before I worked day treatment, I did work preschool, but I made sure that like I was home for my kids when they got out of school. So I worked 6 hours in preschool, and then I would be home with my kids. You know, I would cook dinner, I took care of the house, the dogs, the kids, all the appointments. I was tough, strong, could push through anything. I could work 50 hours a week, come home, take care of my kids. I could do it all. Yeah, the brain was like, no, you can't. And it just stopped me. I can't drive. The doctors say I can't drive until I'm seizure free, just because they're unpredictable. Anything can set me off into them, any kind of stresses. So he's had to take up all of that.
I don't want to say it, but my FND has been pretty controlled for the last almost year now. I have had a headache every single day, all day. I have POTS pretty severely and uncontrollably. So, tachycardia, out of breath, dizziness, fainting, brain fog, fatigue.
Well, I tremor like this probably all day. So I'm always shaking. I have seizures most days, at least 2 to 3. I lose track of like my thought processes throughout the day.
I feel like the biggest part of FND is just never knowing what it's gonna do. We'll make plans to go see a baseball game in Seattle. And we'll just buy normal tickets because, hey, Annabelle's been walking for 8 months. She has her AFOs. She hasn't had to use her wheelchair or her crutches. She hasn't been paralyzed. It's been great. It's been fine. We'll just get normal seats. But then it comes time for the baseball game, and I am fully paralyzed from the waist down and in my wheelchair because of FND. And then it's, well, we can't get accessible seats. And then even if we can't get 4 together. So then we're split up. And do we not go?
I think FND, it impacts everything. And it doesn't just impact my life. It's impacted my husband, my kids. It's changed dynamics in our household. It's a very heartbreaking diagnosis. Pain-free. That's what I'd want my future to be. So I don't like to think too far ahead because it's so daunting to me because I lost so much. So if I think too far ahead, I just see my inability. So I try to just live in the moment and in the day because I can't look that far anymore.
It was. I could tell it was the best one.
It's like little things, like there was a guy at the grocery store that was like just randomly blurted out like, "Oh, my son has the same pattern." I was like,
Oh, there was
What
that
on earth are
woman
you
in
talking
the parking
about?
lot that was like, "Oh my God, sick wheels. I had a wheelchair when I was younger," and blah blah blah. And they were like,
yeah, and he was like, "My son has the same pattern on his AFOs as you do." And I was like, "Oh."
So my daughter, actually, she is not a very touchy-feely person. But if I'm standing and I start going into a seizure, the first thing she does is wrap around me because she knows just touch will help me, brace myself so I don't fall, and then also kind of keep me there. It's really funny when I start vocal taking, and if I'm in my teenage vocal tics, they're really bad. And we just keep going, and so my husband will respond back to me as I'm vocal taking, like, yeah, you tell him, like, so it sounds like we're having this really heated argument or conversation. But it uses the tension a lot for others around us because we're laughing at the same times. It's okay. Oh. Especially when you start getting tired and it's like doing more, then the body moves more.
"Did you guys see the? You didn't see him from the back patio."
I feel like it sounds so cheesy, but just like when I was first diagnosed with FND, I did not think it was gonna get better. Had to leave school, and like I was just having so many seizures, and it was like ruling my life. But like now it's not.
Grace and patience with myself. But before, I was like really, really hard on myself with everything I did. Nothing was ever good enough. I couldn't do anything well enough, like always really hard on myself. Now, when I accomplish something like just making dinner right there, like I can be like, hey, I accomplished that, and like feel good about it. So it kind of gives myself like that grace or that gentleness on myself that I don't have to push so hard all the time to feel successful or feel like I am worthy of just the basic human needs, I guess.